I come with certain, good things and baggage and everything else. All of us do, right? We all have our own experiences, right? So, just a little bit about me. I started back in the early '80s as a game developer for the Macintosh. Wrote one of the first games for the Mac called Gato, Submarine Simulation, and it was just three of us. Dropped out of school for a couple of semesters and wrote the game, and it did real well. And that hooked me on graphics, right? And then, I did things like wargaming and building wargaming systems, and they were kind of follow-on to doing a submarine simulation, right? And then a lot of work in enterprise software, writing lots of desktop applications, lots of, sometimes I wrote like a full Java IDE, those sort of things, like drag and drop interfaces and stuff. Usually I built the stuff I would never use, because I wanted to code it, right? And so, and then at some point I finally got, I was out of the C++ world and in Java, and then, I did Tickle for a while, Tickle TK and all that, telecom companies, and then I've got in the web space, which was really a different world, with the HTTP request and response and all the things that go with that. But my journey, was in enterprise for a long time, like American Airlines and Sabre Airline Solutions, running, airline management software and designing that, both UX and engineering. And at Sabre, which was part of American Airlines, and at American Airlines also, I got to see a lot of the big company problems, that come with specialization and stuff. When I went to Yahoo, at the first, I was more of an evangelist, so I just worked with lots of teams. And then at some point, I took over a product. And at one point, because our product manager went on maternity leave, I was a product manager too. And because our design lead left, I was a design manager too, as well as the engineering manager, which was launching a product at Yahoo, which was kind of funny, to all three. It actually worked pretty well, because if you have anybody to blame, you blame yourself, right? And communication gets to be, well, if you're schizophrenic, that would be a problem, but hopefully I'm not. And then going to Netflix and seeing, a very, I'd say it's not, we didn't do Scrum or Agile or anything like that, but very efficient. Let's just put efficiency as a huge thing. And then coming to PayPal, which, going to PayPal, I knew the problems at PayPal. A big company had grown so fast, been so successful, just overgrown itself and could no longer operate, could no longer communicate, could no longer get anything out the door, and had driven away a lot of good talent and those sort of things like that. So I think I probably have a little bit of all of your experiences, from the small startup to the to the gigantic, enormous company. So as we're going through this, please do not be shy to raise your hand, speak up, and say, well, wait, that's not my experience. My experience is different, or this is the nuance that I'm struggling with. And let's see if we can come up with an answer, because if I don't have the answer, I bet the answer's in the room as we talk about it. So, and also, I actually want to learn from you today, right? Because I'm on a journey, continue to learn how to. I run an organization of when I took it over, it was about 200 front-end engineers at PayPal. And it's about 140 now. I'm probably going to get it down to 110 or so as I continue to deepen the talent and get denser talent. But it's still a big organization. I have 4 directs, and I have 10 UI engineering managers that report to the lady who leads my UI engineering. I have accessibility also. So running a big organization like that, can be challenging, but actually I see it that if I have the right talent, it's actually a pretty easy thing. You get the right people in place, it sort of runs. If you can get working with your partners the right way. If you can't work with your partners, your product owners, your business owners, and your design teams, if you can't work well together, then it's just a nightmare. You're just playing traffic cop all the time. So that's my background experience, and that's really the purpose today is to talk through how we work with our partners and how we apply these lean process. So PayPal, if you frankly, come on guys, if you've used PayPal, especially in the last couple of years, PayPal is very convenient when you're buying something online, right? So when PayPal came to me and started talking to me about an opportunity to leave Netflix, I talked to a couple of friends, and they're like, "You're absolutely crazy. Why in the world would you go to PayPal, leaving Netflix, because PayPal in the Valley hadn't been known for front-end engineering. And it actually had some really great front-end engineers at one point and had driven most of them away. In fact, I had recruited some away, and I hired one, just had hired one more recently at Netflix. Had convinced him to leave PayPal and gave him the story of why in the world would you work at PayPal, you should come to Netflix, right? This guy named Jeff Harrell, who's now my lead architect back at PayPal. So I stole him away to Netflix with that story. But I started thinking back, when I've had the most fun in my career is actually when I've worked in an organization where they were kind of screwed up, and we got things running in a smooth way, and we started getting great product out the door and great experiences out the door. And to me, that was one of the most satisfying, times in my career is changing an organization. So to me, coming to PayPal was that. So I did a series of like 100 interviews when I first started, and it was obvious. I actually have a blog post of what I thought the problem was before I went in, and it was pretty much exactly what I determined after 100 interviews. But PayPal had a culture of a long shelf life, and I don't know if your organizations have these sort of problems, but the problem we've had at PayPal is that it got so big, and of course you're dealing with money, so risk and info security and all these other things get into play. Release management, moratoriums because you don't want to screw your payment systems up over the holidays, and everything you can imagine of roadblocks put in to get anything out the door. So the whole effort becomes, how do I get a product out the door? Not how do I delight my customer. So at Netflix, we talked about the internal engine. We didn't talk about the internal engine, we talked about our customers. At PayPal, all they talked about was the internal engine. All the metrics were, kind of like vanity metrics. It's all about, bug introduction rates and bug counts and, cycle times and blah, 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 this kind of stuff. But not really about the customer, right? And it's more of an inside out rather than outside in. So this culture of a long shelf life is a theme that I saw, and this is something we'll talk about. But what's happened since then is we have kicked off in almost every area of PayPal, we're reinventing the experiences. And we're working in a new way together in a lean UX manner, and that's what we'll talk about today. But I think it's pretty fascinating, a pretty good case study.